I got you.
Let's see if I can remember how to do this. All right, creatures of the night, welcome back to Talking Taker, our encyclopedic exploration digging up the career of the greatest professional wrestling character of all time, The Undertaker. Woo! Feels good to say that again. My name is Alex Dorio. I am one of your co-hosts, one of the creatures of the night, and I want to thank you for joining us for yet another round of Dead Man Talking. And of course, I am joined, as always, by my tag team partner, my wrestling buddy, my fellow creature of the night. He is the charismatic enigma himself. We are reunited, and it feels so good, Mr. Travis White. And Travis, we got that twin magic going on here with our
Not even planned.
our Undertaker shirts, courtesy of Mike Prue from the Bottom Line Wrestling Podcast, our buddy over there. We thank you for these gifts. But Travis,
Oh, yeah.
man, we have risen from the dead, much like the dead man himself. We are resurrecting Talking Taker, like a classic wrestling retirement. It's lasted a couple of months here, but we are back, my friend. How you doing? How you feeling?
I'm great, man. I feel like Terry Funk, man, just coming out of retirement a couple weeks later. So, no, I'm good, man. Good. Life has been very busy. Feel like busier since we got done with the podcast than before. So I'm glad we could dust off the old headphones and do this once again. So surprise!
That's right.
We should come back with Roland. Our theme. Came back out of
rolling.
nowhere.
Well, we're talking about the Biker Taker era.
There we
We're talking
are.
about Big Evil. We're talking about the American Badass tonight. As you've seen in your podcast feed, as we've surprised you, we are back. Tweaked it a little bit. We're going to be back periodically for some special editions of the podcast. We'll talk about that here in just a moment, what our plans are for Talking Taker. But much like The Undertaker himself, much like the Last Ride series, you know, we just can't get enough. We had that high. We had that perfect. We keep chasing that perfect moment, that perfect ending. We want to keep coming back for more, and that's the beauty of doing this podcast, is that we can do that. The Undertaker's career is so legendary, so in depth, that we can keep coming back for more. We can keep analyzing and digging into different angles. And but, you know, more than anything, Travis and I, we miss talking to each other, and we miss talking to all you, our creatures of the night out there. So we wanted to, we've been talking over the past few weeks about ways to keep the podcast alive, keep it living and breathing, despite the fact that we've done literally every Undertaker pay-per-view match in his entire career. What else can we do? Well, we've been brainstorming, and we got some ideas here. So, man, it just feels good to be back.
Oh, yeah, it's good to be back. And, yeah, I'll be completely honest. Like, I just don't know how we would have – because we talked, you know, in the last episode about coming up with something new and what we could do. We have some ideas still in our brains about different, you know, Untaker-related stuff. But, like I said, life's been busy. I know I don't have the time to invest like I did for Talking Taker. My life somehow gotten busier since we finished the podcast, just with kids and stuff. So, yeah, and my wife's job being full-time now. So it's just been crazy, but yeah, this is something we can go back to, and it's something easy and comfortable and good and fun, and there's so much more meat on the bone. Again, like you said, we've accomplished the Undertaker pay-per-views, but there's so many iconic matches, moments, just other things in his legendary career, because I was telling my wife the other day we're going to do this. She's like, aren't y'all done, though, with his matches? I'm like, yeah, we're done with that story. We're like, there's so many things that, like, fans asked us to do that, like, because we were sticking to our guns, we couldn't do. Well, now, you know, it's like we're on an unsigned record label all of a sudden. You know, like you get your freedom. You're not bound by the contract of the record label, so you can just do your indie stuff. So here we are, man, indie darlings.
As the shirt says, I don't know if we can read it here, but the Phenom never dies.
That's right.
And hopefully this podcast never dies either. And that's our whole idea here. So Our plan right now, Travis and I, for the immediate future, for the indefinite future, is we want to come back to you once a month. So we used to do it every Friday. So every single week we dropped a new episode for about 3.5 years, going through every pay-per-view match in the Undertaker's career. But for the time being, we're going to come at you once a month. So this one's dropping on July 1st, so probably around the end of the month or the first of the month every month, sometime around then. Once a month, we're going to come back to you, or we might time it particularly on particular anniversaries.
Sure.
So something like that. But every month, you should be looking out for a new special edition of Talking Taker from us, analyzing different aspects of Undertaker's career. So today, for example, we're going to be doing a watch-along episode. So we'll definitely be doing some of those as we go down the road. There may be some other topics of conversation that we might look at. We might have some interviews with some special guests that we might bring on the show. We might debate, things like Undertaker's greatest opponents, try to pick our top 10 greatest Undertaker rivalries or things like that, or favorite casket matches. I don't know. The floor is wide open now that we've expanded beyond our pay-per-view concept, and we're open to ideas. We'd love to hear from you, Creatures of the Night, different things we could talk about, we could review DVDs or VHSs, different aspects of the Undertaker's career. Who knows? Again, like I said, it's wide open. We're open to suggestions of matches to watch along and do commentary for. But just the fact that we were talking about coming back and trying to do something on a semi-regular basis, and you brought it up, you suggested it, Travis. The timing was so perfect because it's one of the matches that we have been requested to go in depth on since August of 2017, since we launched the podcast, was this one right here. And it just happened to fit with the anniversary of it on July 1st here. It is The Undertaker in arguably his greatest non-pay-per-view match of all time against Jeff Hardy on Raw from 2002 in a ladder match, man. How about it?
Oh, how about it indeed. And I remember being home and watching this. At the time. It's just crazy. 19 years ago, remembering exactly where I was watching this match and the emotions and the feeling I got watching this match that night, and I can still relive it. Can't tell you what I ate for breakfast last week, but I can tell you exactly where I was and what I was feeling watching this match 19 years ago. Wow, golly, what were we, 16? So it's crazy.
Yeah. An all-time classic. We're going to get in-depth on it. We're going to do our signature running commentary, watch-along commentary here, and talk about our feelings of it, our memories of it, look back on it. Of course, we did cover it back on the podcast, but not in that same in-depth fashion that we did for the pay-per-view matches. It was actually episode 89 of our podcast where we originally talked about it. The Vengeance 2002 episode.
Great match.
Another great match. We're going to give you a little bit of a recap of what was going on in The Undertaker's career a little bit later on. So we'll set the stage, set the context for it. But that's a little bit of the idea of what we're going to do here once a month. But also, another reason why we wanted to do this is because, like we said, the Phenom never dies. The Undertaker character may have been retired at Survivor Series 2020, but Mark Calloway, he still lives on. His presence still lives on. He still makes news every month or so. He's still doing interviews. He still comes up in other people's interviews. There's still great Undertaker content for us to talk about. So we wanted to be able to talk about that here on our podcast. So I think what we'll do every month, instead of diving right into the match, is just bring up any current events or any Taker news, raise the dead a little bit for the dead man here on the show as we start things out. Of course, we last left you guys with our special Raising Kane edition of the podcast, sort of a gateway into what we'll be doing now, these special edition episodes. We could cover some Kane matches.
We're never going into straight all Kane stuff.
No.
That's not happening because there's too much of the same.
There's too much crossover, but I'm open. I would do a couple of Kane matches if some people want that.
I just don't want people to think that we're going to go and straight do Raising Kane and do all of it from day one, because that's not happening, because there's just too much redundancy.
Well, we'll leave that to someone else, to all the Canaanites out there. But
exactly.
I would say the biggest Undertaker news, stories, clickbait type stuff of the past few weeks has come out of the WWE Network Broken Skull Sessions, featuring friend of the podcast, former guest of the podcast, the Good Father, a.k.a. the Godfather, Charles Wright on the WWE Network. So much Taker talk in there. He did. He inducted you into the Right to Censor. Historic classic moment. One of the highlights of this entire podcast. Exactly. Dude.
But yeah, no, not on the Broken Skull Sessions. But if you guys haven't seen that, go back to our social media and you can see him inducting me into the Right to Censor Hall of Fame, or Right to Censor rather. But yeah, Broken Skull Sessions, always good. I mean, I could watch that show. I wish it were nightly. I mean, I wish he had his own talk show at night, like Conan O'Brien, or like it was just like
absolutely
Johnny Carson, but it's Steve Austin, so it'd be great. But anyway, like I can watch those so much, but so much Taker talk on the one with old Bear, with old Godfather. So, and he's the nicest guy. He's so kind. He's so great, so honest, and just really, really cool hearing about their relationship. And just he's the one that gave Taker his first tattoo, talked him into it.
Yes.
So, I mean, would it be the Biker Taker we're about to talk about? Wouldn't be the Biker Taker without that tattoos, and old Bear, old Godfather's the one that got him there, so funny story there.
Wow, we see some great pictures from the archives that they dig up on there. Some great stories of the territories and Memphis and
Soul Taker and all that.
Yeah, some of their first matches against each other, working each other stiff, and Godfather picking up Undertaker for a body slam, and Undertaker not being a fan of that happening. There's a lot of good stuff in there. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Go out of your way to watch that.
I also talk about that match that at the time stunned us when he's, kind of re-debuted as Kama and he beats Taker clean with like a clothesline. Like they talked about that on the Broken Skull Sessions, not in depth, but just he mentioned that match and I was like, yeah, I know, that was ridiculous.
It was.
It was quite a push for you.
And we see some great images of him as what the Papa Shango gimmick would have been.
Yeah.
What it was supposed to be there, him coming back in 97, and, what might have been with that.
And then, of course, plenty of Right to Censor talk, which is always my favorite, so it's all good.
And plenty of Godfather talk, of course. Yeah. So they talk about that clip of Godfather trying to get Undertaker to take the old offer.
Take the women.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot about that, yeah. So, yeah, good stuff there. And then as of this recording, we haven't seen but when this drops, you will have seen the Mick Foley Broken Skull Sessions. I can only imagine there'll be plenty of Taker talk on there.
Oh, yeah.
Especially regarding to Hell in a Cell and stuff. And just him coming in. I mean, he came into the WWE to feud with Undertaker. So I'm sure he'll talk about that in extensively. So that will be 10 or 11 days ago by the time this drops. So
yeah.
Yeah.
And then Undertaker was on a Sports Illustrated podcast as well?
I think it was just an interview on SI.com or something. I think it was Justin Barrasso, if I'm not mistaken. But he was just talking about the current product kind of for a minute and just mentioned how Roman Reigns is just fired on all cylinders. And he said, I wish I had it in me to face him now, just because Reigns, I'm not a WWE shill. I like all the wrestling, but Reigns is in my opinion right now, the best character on TV, doing the best work out of anybody. Not saying in-ring work. People can work circles around him, but you cannot take your eyes off of Roman Reigns' match right now. He's so good. He's so nuanced. He's amazing. He's a pro wrestler, sports entertainer. He's doing it perfectly, and Taker just basically puts him over, saying, like, this is the guy. Like, I wish I had it in me to go back and do that now and do this, because it would do it justice now, because Reigns is just on another level, and it's so good. And so, yeah, I just want to put that over, too, because I wholeheartedly agree. I would love to see Taker face this Roman Reigns. It's not going to happen, but it would be so sweet, because Reigns has got all the puzzle pieces in the right places nowadays, and they're not trying to shove him down our throat as the next John Cena. He's the first Roman Reigns, and I love it. So
You say it's not going to happen. Never say never, man.
I don't
Never
think
say
it
never. We got the live crowds are coming back soon.
It's true.
The rumor mill is going crazy. What Vince might pull out to try to get these crowds back into the arenas. I think we're going to see some big things, and I hope. I'm crossing my fingers, whether or not it's a match or not. I do hope we see Undertaker in front of a live crowd again. Sooner rather than later, whatever it may be. And again, that's another reason why we're bringing this podcast back. We're hoping that we do get to see the Undertaker back in front of crowds again, and we want to have this platform available for us to talk about it if it does happen.
Yep, exactly. I think he'll be in front of a crowd. I don't think he'll wrestle, but I do think he will be to get one, just the pop he's going to receive.
Oh, my goodness.
It's going to be insane.
Unreal.
I don't care if it's in Poughkeepsie or where it's going to be. If it's in Paducah, Kentucky, it's going to be, or if it's in MSG, it's going to be huge. No matter where it is. So, but anyway.
And he doesn't have to. He doesn't have to put on the hat and the gloves and the trench coat and everything. He can come out as the Biker Taker again. He can come out as Mark Calloway from the Boneyard match yet again. He can ride out on his motorcycle and he'll still get that same pop, that same reaction.
Yep. So, anyway, but that's kind of the recent goings on with him, and since last time we talked. So, I'm sure there'll be much more to come.
Fingers crossed, man. Fingers crossed. And that brings us in, segue from the Biker Taker into the original Biker Taker from 2002. That is our topic of conversation tonight. Again, something that you, our listeners, our fans, our creatures of the night have talked about since day one of this podcast. We said we're not going to do a full episode on it because it's not a pay-per-view match.
Right.
But now that we've finished all the pay-per-view matches, we can go ahead and go back and do a special episode acknowledging July 1st, 2002, Monday Night Raw for the Undisputed Championship, Undertaker versus Jeff Hardy in a ladder match. It's still kind of crazy when you think about it, even all these years later, that a match like that even happened. Man, Travis, when you think about that match, when I say that match to you, what are the things that come to your mind? What are the memories that come to mind?
Oh, I just immediately remember just knowing, and we talked about it on our episode with Vengeance, but I mean, I knew Jeff Hardy wasn't going to win because you just didn't see him giving that to him. But I had hope, and the hope spots got me. Like, I was on the edge of my seat that, maybe, because a year before he had beaten Triple H for the Intercontinental title and lost it 4 days later. But he still won it. Like, if you win the title, you still win it. You're still a champion. Doesn't matter if it's for one night or a couple hours or what. So, I was, as the match is going on, I'm like, maybe they'll do that and just give it to him and then Taker win it back. But, because, it just didn't play the story for all of a sudden it just upset the apple cart and just all of a sudden Taker loses the title because there was so much going on. But, I remember being bit and being, or biting on all these false finishes and all this stuff and just really being, and even after the match, just applauding Jeff Hardy and being like, dude, he just got taken to another level. He got that Undertaker stink on him, and it's not going to go away. He's a main eventer, man. So
2002, you and I, you mentioned a little bit, we were both 16 years old, both in high school. How big of a Hardy Boys fan were you in 2002?
Oh, they were my favorite, man. I loved them. I mean, they're so good. And I identified with them. And I always thought, you and I were going to pursue wrestling and we were going to be the Hardy Boys. I thought you were going to be more of the mat-based, brains of it, Matt guy, and Matt Hardy, and I was going to be Jeff Hardy, kind of the more daredevilish, just caution to the wind, break your back, and do whatever it takes to get over. I thought we were going to be those guys, because you always had the mind and the brain for this stuff, and I just didn't care and would go out there and do whatever. So that's just kind of how I thought we were going to be. We were going to be the next Hardy Boys. So, yeah.
Yeah, dude. They absolutely. They were at their. I won't say their peak, but I mean, man, they were as hot as anybody at this time. It's hard to say they peaked because they've had so many great runs,
right,
since then. But man, just this original run of theirs from 99 up to this point in 2002. Jeff Hardy's he'll end up leaving the company in 2003, and of course have all of his struggles throughout his career. But golly, man, he was so hot, so lovable, such a fan favorite, such a great underdog to root for during this time. He was
I mean, I used
so
to take tube
unique.
socks and cut them and cut the holes in them and put them on our wrists when we wrestled each other. Like, it was just, yeah, he was a guy like that we identified with, man.
The face paint, the
Yeah.
neon hair, the glow in the dark, the just ridiculous dancing and everything,
Yeah.
man. It was so different and so cool to us.
Oh yeah, stood out, and yeah, I love this guy. So, and again, like I said, knew wasn't going to win, but also didn't quite know as we're watching this match.
Yeah, there was enough believability.
Mm-hmm.
It was like back then you always thought and hoped and believed that maybe Jeff Hardy would be the next Shawn Michaels. And
Right.
I won't say his career quite went, in that way, but of course he did end up becoming a world champion and did end up achieving that
Multiple times.
Multiple times, yeah. But at this time you thought maybe they're going to go for it because it was a bit of a crazy time in the WWE at this time here in July 2002. I want to talk about that real quick.
Freshly
before we get
minted
into it.
WWE. Yeah.
That's part of it, man.
Yeah.
The WWE and the Raw brand in general were just kind of in flux at this time. Listen to everything that was going on here within this month or two around July 1st, 2002. So as you mentioned, the WWF behind the scenes had just become the WWE in May of 2002. So they've just completely changed their name and their corporate branding and everything like that. They just had the original brand split in April of 2002, so that's still relatively fresh, this complete change in direction of the company. Not to mention, 3 weeks before this episode of Raw was the episode of Raw where Stone Cold Steve Austin walked out on the company because he refused to do a job for Brock Lesnar on a random episode of Raw. 2 weeks... 1 week ago was the infamous ruthless aggression speech from Vince McMahon, kind of rebooting and resetting the company. 2 weeks from this night is when Eric Bischoff is going to come and debut out of nowhere on an episode of Raw. 1 week from this episode of Raw is when Kevin Nash tears his quad and the NWO angle just collapses in on itself.
Just implodes.
And then just the previous Thursday before this episode of Raw was the episode of Raw where John Cena debuts. And he has an infamous moment with The Undertaker. And so, the future face of the company debuts just a few days before this. So there's a lot going on. I think I said this back when we were doing this era of the podcast. This is one of, I would compare it to like 1997 and 2001 and just like behind the scenes crazy stuff. It's like every single week the direction of the company is kind of changing. Mm-hmm. There's something big that goes on behind the scenes or on TV. There is so much craziness going on.
Yeah, it's nuts. It's a nutty time, man. I can't imagine. Even XFL had collapsed. They started it and it collapsed. They changed the name. Randy Orton would have debuted, in April, I think
around
it was?
This time, too? Yeah.
Yeah, right before that. And then, the end of the year, it's going to be Shelton and Charlie Haas coming in. And Lesnar just debuted right after WrestleMania. So, yeah, you got your whole new crop, new era of talent. They're rebuilding, out with the old. Austin's gone away for 9 months, I think it is. 8 months, 9 months. Comes back and his run ends how it does. So, yeah, the whole company is just shifting and changing. But who's the constant? Who's the one guy right there, smack dab in the middle? The Undertaker. And he's feuding. And this was a time when, with the brand split, they're having the one undisputed title just kind of swap brands. And he's the only one that travels between brands, basically. So he's feuding with Kurt Angle and The Rock on SmackDown at this point. And but also feuding with, I guess, kind of Jeff Hardy here on Raw. So he's playing a lot of different, or wearing a lot of different hats, if you will.
I'm so glad you brought that up. That's the next thing on my notes right here, and it's that connective thread. amidst all the backstage chaos, Undertaker is the WWE champion here. He's the undisputed champion on screen. He's a guy Vince can look to when all this insanity is going on, as a guy he can trust, a guy who's not going anywhere, a guy who's reliable, that can carry the company. And in the same vein, when all this chaos is going on, they're also trying to. This is a critical time for building new stars. There are so many. That's one of the things that jumps out to you when you watch these episodes of Raw and SmackDown from this time is how many new stars are being built during this time. Like you said, RVD, Brock Lesnar, John Cena, Randy Orton, Jeff Hardy,
Hulk Hogan.
Somebody say something about nostalgia.
Yeah, exactly.
Booker T. New to WWE. He's getting that initial push here in WWE. But man, this is like all of those guys. This is the year. This is the summer or the season where all of these guys, Hall of Famers or future Hall of Famers, they all debut or they're all sort of coming into their own during this time. And every single one of those guys also ends up having feuds with Undertaker. Undertaker is one of the guys who he may not have put them over as far as letting them beat him 1, 2, 3, but he put them over in feuds and in rivalries and helped establish them whether or not they beat him or not.
This match is a prime example of that. Exactly. So sometimes, I say this all the time on here, like Bully Ray says it on Busted Open, like you can go over or you can get over. And sometimes you can get over by not going over. Just because you lose doesn't mean you didn't get over. And this match is the proof in the pudding in this match right here. So.
Dude, I would say there is literally nobody better than The Undertaker at doing that, at getting guys over without necessarily giving them a win.
Yeah. I'd say aside from Rock Austin WrestleMania 13, which was a different kind of story, aside from that, there's nobody. Consistently, Taker is the guy, like you said. He's the one that you can have a match with him, lose, but still get over in
so
that
many
loss,
times. So many times,
Yeah, all the RVD hardcore stuff is great, man.
Maybe like a Ric Flair in the 80s was like that same style, as the champ. He would let guys get him, to the limit, push him all the way to the limit, but end up going over and help those guys establish them in the end. So he would be the 80s version of that, but Undertaker did that so many times.
Yep.
Yeah,
because you can't throw Hogan in there because Hogan would just squash people. And that's not a political thing. That was his character. His character wasn't built for that, But Austin, same thing. Austin didn't really have it. Would have damaged his character to have let that happen, But Taker, probably Taker and Flair, man. That's crazy. Good company.
Yeah. He had that credibility where he was able to do that, and we'll talk about that here as we get to this match. I want to talk real quick about the build up to this match for a moment, and then just talk about this episode of Raw that we're going to cover here, and some of the other things going on, dude. Well, first of all, do you remember how this rivalry between Jeff Hardy and The Undertaker really kicked off?
Nope.
Would you believe it if I told you it happened because Jeff Hardy drop kicked Undertaker into a bucket of Tommy Dreamer's vomit?
Yep. Now it's coming back to me.
That's how we kicked off here.
There you go. That's the inciting incident. Yeah.
That was it, man.
Yeah.
That was it. It actually had gone on for a few weeks here on some episodes of Raw. Undertaker had faced Matt Hardy a few times. Jeff Hardy had interfered in some of his matches. Undertaker had interfered in some of his matches. And then the week before this, on June 25th, 2002, Undertaker actually faced Jeff Hardy that week on Raw, and Taker won pretty convincingly with a last ride powerbomb. But as Undertaker drove off and drove up the ramp, Jeff Hardy got on the mic and said he wasn't finished with him yet, and challenged Undertaker to a match here on Raw this week and to a ladder match with the undisputed title on the line, and Undertaker accepted that. So that's sort of the condensed version of how we got here.
His voice squeaks really bad in that promo, doesn't it?
It squeaks in that one, and it squeaks in this one.
Maybe
on
it's
this
this
episode
one.
of Raw too. Yeah. He's just hitting puberty at this point in time. But yeah, man. So this episode of Raw, July 1st, 2002, man, it is, again, the company is just in flux. It opens up with Brock Lesnar beating Ric Flair in a big matchup. Again, Brock Lesnar was supposed to beat Stone Cold Steve Austin a few weeks before this, but Stone Cold had walked out on the company. So instead, a couple weeks later, Brock Lesnar is going to go over the legendary Ric Flair, and he's going to put him over.
It's crazy. I remember this night. I remember that match and just being like, whoa, this guy's just beat the crap out of Ric Flair. Like, he's legit, you know?
And it's a good match. I watched it back today. I was watching this episode of Raw.
As young and green as Brock was, Flair led him through it, and it was great. And it did exactly what it had to do. This is an instance of we're taking Flair to the limit and still going over him, but still getting over too, you know? So, yeah, it was great. And, you know, I understand Austin's mentality for, you know, not wanting to do the job to Brock. It's not about doing the job to him. It's about the fact that there is money on the table that you are just throwing away by not having him build up, because there's no competition. It's not like you're trying to get pop a rating over Nitro. It's like, let's build this up for a few weeks. So I get, you know, a lot of people give Austin crap. I do. He did handle himself pretty poorly just leaving. But I mean, as far as his mentality behind, let's do something with this young kid, not just throw it away on Raw. I get that, man. Especially as a businessman of his stature. I get it, dude. I totally get it.
Absolutely. I think that's what he's always said. Like he's always apologized for how he handled himself, but I mean, not necessarily for his
the
opinion.
Booking.
Yeah. I mean, I think
his opinion's valid.
Yeah, it 100% is.
Yeah.
I might have walked out if I was Molly Holly during this time in 2002, because this is during the storyline where Trish Stratus is trying to prove that Molly Holly has a fat butt, and then pulls down her pants and it reveals her granny panties.
Why do I remember that? Not good.
Jerry the King Lawler loses his mind on commentary.
Yeah.
We got Chris Nowinski defeating Bradshaw on this episode of Raw, and yep, that happened. Chris Benoit and Eddie Guerrero return. They face the Dudley Boys. We got Booker T and Goldust.
By Dudley Boys, you mean Bubba and Spike?
Because Devon
is about to become a preacher over on SmackDown. Yeah.
Please call my name.
But he'll bring in the Leviathan, Deacon Batista.
How weird is that? That's crazy. And perhaps the other most memorable moment on this episode of Raw has got to be Booker T and Goldust doing the Darth Vader Star Wars impression. That's on this episode of Raw.
Oh, it's so good. Oh, it's one of my favorite
Booker
scenes
T says
ever.
He ain't never and he won't never see no Star Wars movie.
Now, is this where he's on his knee and he pulls the lightsaber in?
Yeah, Booker T and Goldust.
How can you do that, sucker? Yes. It's so good. Oh, man. How they did that without dying, I don't know, man. I would have been laughing the whole time. So, so good. Yeah, the NWO, I think on this night is when Sean teases that Triple H is going to come join the NWO with them, and they kick Big Show out, if I'm not mistaken, right? Literally kick him out with a super kick.
Yeah, right before this segment that we're getting into.
Yeah, that's right. Right before this. So, yeah. Man, a lot of stuff going on, man. Yeah, Sean had just come back.
Again, he had just come back, and clearly they had bigger plans for this whole NWO angle. And then next week, Kevin Nash dares his quad, and just an infamous moment. And again, the plans just get ripped to shreds just as much as his quad was.
Exactly. Oh, good stuff, man.
So amidst all of that, as we talked about, The Undertaker is the Undisputed Champion. He is going back and forth between both brands here, as the Undisputed Champion did during this time. His primary feud is going over on SmackDown. He's feuding with Kurt Angle and The Rock. It's going to lead to a classic triple threat match that, if I'm not mistaken,
the best one I've ever seen.
Yeah, it made both of our top 20 all-time matches for the Undertaker's career that we covered a couple episodes ago. Very underrated match. I think people sleep on a little bit and don't talk about it as much, but it's very, very good. That's the primary feud because SmackDown's pay-per-view is coming up, so that's the big thing. So over here on Raw, it's a very interesting time. He's having these smaller feuds, helping to elevate these younger guys, which is kind of what they did during this initial first year or so of this brand split. And this feud with Jeff Hardy had been going on for a little while. It, of course, never made it to pay-per-view, but it made it to this episode of Raw. Jeff Hardy cuts a promo earlier in the night with Terry Runnels, which is interesting because Jeff Hardy won with his brother Matt.
The Terry Invitational Tournament.
The TIT. And that was how they jumped on the scene with that ladder match.
He's been in TLCs and TITs. Yeah.
And this is a classic promo. I remember this like almost by heart because he's backstage and Terry says, you're the underdog tonight. Jeff says, I'm not the underdog. This is a ladder match. And he screams at her, and then he just runs off the screen. He does parkour off of this scaffolding around there. He goes nuts. And he tells Terry that I've been in a ton of ladder matches. Undertaker's never been in one. And there's a saying that says, live free or die. Well, tonight, I'm going to live for the moment. And then he just
there you go.
Runs off like an insane man, like he was.
Yeah, he just leaves. It's it's so good, man. I remember that stuff. Yeah.
They do a nice little video package for Jeff Hardy later in the night, just highlighting some of his ladder match highlights. And it's interesting. JR on commentary says that Jeff Hardy has created more offense in a ladder match than any other man in history. Because if you look at Jeff Hardy's history after this point, he hadn't really won a lot of ladder matches. He'd been in a lot of them and had made a lot of memorable moments. And it created a lot of offense, but hadn't necessarily won a bunch of them.
Yeah, that's like an honorable mention.
Right.
Created a lot. This guy has created more offense in a ladder match than anybody else. AKA, he doesn't win them often.
Nope. I like the way he puts that.
Yeah.
And then Undertaker later on the night, he has a promo talking about, again, he's talking to Terry. Well, before that, he's talking to Terry, and Terry asks him about Kurt Angle, and he says, I'm not going to be like Hulk Hogan. I'm not going to tap out to Kurt Angle. I'm going to beat him, then I'll move on to The Rock.
Crazy.
And Terry asks if he's concerned about facing Jeff Hardy tonight, and Taker says, what's your point? And then walks away from her. So he's kind of brushing this match aside and trying to act like he's not nervous about it.
Yep.
And then after that, he's going to be talking to Vince McMahon backstage, shadowboxing.
Doing this the whole time.
Old Taker and Vince, our favorite sitcom characters.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Vince basically says, if I'm not mistaken, he's like, he says, I'll give you what you want. You get the Rock at Vengeance. And Taker's like, great. And he said, and something to the effect of like, if you're still champion by then, it'll be a championship match. And Taker's kind of like, what? Like he's upset that Vince is looking past this night, thinking he might lose title. And I think his match on Thursday for SmackDown, is it a title match against Angle or not? I don't remember if it's title.
I don't recall. Yeah.
But that leads to him. I think he loses that, or it's a weird, wonky finish, and that leads to the triple threat or whatever. But anyway, so yeah, it's
is that the one where like it's like a pin and a tap out, like kind of at the same time, but it's not really a tap out,
Yeah.
Yes, it's something.
So that's what leads to sets up the triple threat. So yeah, again, he's busiest man in the company, man. He's having all these feuds at the same time. So.
It is a crazy time. Yep, he is the focus of the company here. He's an incredible heel. We're going to talk about all that here. We got about 21 minutes of match to talk about here, to talk about all that stuff here. So, yeah, this is going to be our watch-along for WWE Monday Night Raw Season 10, Episode 26 from July 1st, 2002 on the Peacock Network. This is our first Peacock watch along here on Talking Taker. I mean, as far as us, we're believers in God, and what better way to say that God is real than we got through our podcast before ever having to switch over to the Peacock Network? Because good gracious, it is atrocious. But thankfully, they've got this episode of Raw uploaded. You may, if you're going to watch it along with us, you may need to take a pause, get through some advertisements and all that sort of stuff. and it's not quite as easy to find exactly where we're going to be, but we will try to make it as easy as possible for you because we're just going to start it at 1 hour, 15 minutes, and 0 seconds. So it is not one of the chapter breaks on there like it used to be, but you just you're going to kind of scroll over to the last chapter section on there. Then you're going to scroll a little bit further. 1 hour, 15 minutes even. 1 hour, 15 minutes,
you should
0.
have a giant light in your eye, like an X, like the light is reflecting as like an X.
You got a shot of the crowd. In the bottom corner, there's a sign that says "The dead man is alive," and you see a ladder sort of on the other bottom corner of the screen there in the ring. So, take a pause for the cause. Get queued up. Get the ad break out of the way. There should not be any ad breaks in the middle of this match, so hopefully we will be able to get through it here with our watch along. If you're not able to watch it, if you're just in your car, you're in the gym, something like that, we're going to try to make it as entertaining and go through the action as much as possible, but we'd love for you to join along with us. And all that being said, Travis, for the first time in a long time, why don't you give us a countdown here?
Yeah, we'll go 3, 2, 1, play, and we'll push play on play. So everybody get ready. Get your peacock fingers ready. All right. And 3, 2, 1, play. All right.
There it is.
There's the title.
Man, how do you feel about that version of the Undisputed WWE Championship?
I liked that it wasn't 2 titles anymore. I didn't like that it was when they had the 2 came around, but I wasn't sad when they went away from this again.
Jeff Hardy playing some air keyboard or piano or something. Matt Hardy, Big Money Matt giving him a handshake and a pep talk. I really like that Undisputed title. I'm a big fan of it here. Oh, I'm a big fan of that.
Coming back. Lita's back with a neck brace. I guess she just had surgery, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think this was quite when she broke her neck in the ring. That was a couple years later. Her and Trish in that match when she almost broke her neck.
Bro,
here we go.
You Team Lita or Team Trish?
Why do I have to pick? Jeff's going nuts. Here we go. Take her out.
You got to pick, man. Who's your pick?
Oh, probably take. At the time, probably take Lita.
Ooh, I'm Team Trish all day, every day. I mean, I wouldn't turn Lita down, but
Look at this guy, man, riding out like
Dead Man Inc.
He's getting paid right now to ride out on his motorcycle down in the ring.
Greatest gig ever, man.
Yeah, and this is crazy. Like you mentioned, he's a heel. He's a heel champion, but he's also like, well. The camera guy just got ran over or something. I don't know. Well, anyway, but he's also like giving props to John Cena after that match, and he's also like, well, we're going to see here, going to do something. Well, we just went away and came back.
Commercial break, right. But we're back here in the Raw zone.
But he's also, going to do something at the end of this match that's not heelish. So he's able to walk that line of the tweener because he can instantly just beat up Lita if he wants to and get his heel heat back, so. Yeah,
and he's not – he's going to turn babyface pretty shortly after that. Yeah. And I think this is slowly building into that as he continues to give that respect. And we see – if you're watching this on YouTube, you just saw Extreme T.
This guy.
I mean, did you do that in the mirror when you were 16, like getting ready for school? Yes, of course.
Oh, yeah. Look at this guy. He's bouncing everywhere, man. This is awesome.
I mean, the glow in the dark face paint is different every time he came out. I mean, it's just such a brilliant innovator, man.
Well, and he started the face paint because Sting was his favorite wrestler, man. He loved it. Oh, look at that. He's about to joke.
Taker don't like that. Jeff Hardy jumping. Taker mouths some choice words under his breath.
Mother. Yeah. It's like, you don't tug on Superman's cape, you don't spit in the wind, you don't drop kick. What a diversion.
Hit it right, Taker right in the shin bone. Yeah. Taker was supposed to be a few inches ahead of himself.
Leaping over the top.
Look at that, man. What a way to start a match right there.
I mean, this Attitude Era style start right there, man. That's tearing the head.
Taker got his hands up, but that was still a stiff ski of a chair shot
Yeah.
to him.
I guess this match has officially started. I don't know. We're not listening to
Well,
the audio.
I mean, that's what you got to do. When you're Jeff Hardy and you weigh 180 pounds, and Undertaker's 310, 320 or something.
He said, not today.
Oh, Jeff Hardy said not today.
Yeah. Jeff's got this. Oh.
Clothesline from hell from Undertaker. Just knocked Jeff Hardy out.
Look, these crowds on their feet, man. These guys are not sitting down because you've got one of the just most over baby faces against, an icon.
A legend.
I mean, a legend. And Taker, I mean, it's only been 12 years he's been there, but he's been, like we said from episode 1 of Talking Taker, he's been in the main event since the day he walked out.
Well, you say only 12 years, and that is, nowadays 12 years is almost not that big a deal. Like
back then, it was huge.
Nobody was around for that long. That's why the decade of destruction back a couple years before, that was such a big deal because that just didn't happen back then. Whereas nowadays, the guys are there for 15, 20 years like it's nothing.
Yeah, let's see. A decade of destruction. Well, is it 2021 now? So who debuted in 2011? I mean, people that are still there. Sheamus has over a decade of destruction.
Yeah. I was thinking Miz,
the
freaking Zack Ryder was there for 15 years, you know? Guys like that.
Yeah, it's crazy. Oh, man. This crowd, I mean, they're just on their feet, dude. They just don't know what's going to happen. So, I think Randy Turco has this shirt that Taker has on, if I'm not mistaken.
It's a great shirt.
Here we go. About to lawn dart.
Does Randy Turco have those pants that Jeff Hardy is wearing?
Oh, I wanted them. That's for sure.
You wanted one of those fishnet shirts that the Hardy Boys used to wear. You tried to get one on eBay.
I did. I was listening to he's just cramming that on Taker's body. Listening back to one of our episodes the other day. Ugly leg
that hurts for Jeff Hardy.
Inner thigh meat just got whacked by the ladder. That's crazy. Oh, I think it was the Royal Rumble 2001. We talked about all the black jeans and then all the shirts, like Jeff Hardy's shirt and stuff. And we talked about how I wanted one of those. Never got one though. I'm glad I didn't.
What a great clash of styles this is, man! Like that established legend of Undertaker, and then this classic underdog, one of the most over baby faces of all time in Jeff Hardy.
Yeah.
This match shouldn't work, because of their styles, but it does because of their personalities and how established they are with the fans.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes styles make matches, dude. Like that's why sometimes matches are good when two guys you don't. Sometimes it's like, I want to put Kenny Omega and AJ Styles. That may not be as good as you think it is because they're too similar, but you got guys like this, that are polar opposites, and that's why it works so good. Because you have to think outside the box about what you're going to do. You have to you have to use some psychology.
Undertaker,
Jeff just took a splash onto the table.
Yeah, ladder shot to the face, off the apron to the table, and
setting the ladder up, trying to go home real quick, man.
Look at this, man. This is the legend that we talk about, devoted our podcast to. Like, if you would have told me in 1990, when this guy debuts at the Survivor Series, that one day he's going to be in this thing called a ladder match 12 years later, you would just never believe something like that. But he is this guy that has adapted with the times, that has changed his character, that is willing to do these new matches, this new style, and is able to do it at a high level, and is able to produce, one of the best matches of this particular form.
Oh man, just dropped him on the
Folded
table.
It up.
And that was Taker's first time climbing a ladder, probably. I mean, this is his first ladder match. It's just crazy.
Yeah, not his last.
No,
it is his first.
He's gonna have more. We were talking earlier about the changing of the company and the established characters. How Taker was kind of he is the main guy. I mean, him and Hunter, because Shawn's coming back from a 4-year hiatus. Austin is gone, and Rock had to he's
He's about to
about
come back.
Hollywood now.
Yeah.
But he's going to come
Or he
back
has
and kind
come
of give
back.
the
Yeah,
whole
he has
get
come
the F out. Austin took his ball and went home, yada, yada. But he's coming back to fill that void where Austin, left, but he's also going to leave again, and
Yeah,
this is going to be his
short-term.
part-time gig,
Yeah.
Look at this crowd. These are all adult humans just standing up. I mean, they're into this, dude.
Not robots. Adult
No, I'm
humans.
saying they're not like little kids. Like nowadays, you'll see nothing wrong with that, but like it's just definitely still coming out of the Attitude Era where it was more of a little adultish. 18 to 49-year-old was the still TV 14 stuff.
And they've got their handheld instant cameras
Kodak
and digital
instant
cameras.
Yeah, sign of the times. Everybody's got a sign still because that's how you got trending.
That's how you got noticed.
You didn't have to hashtag it and all that. You got noticed by your sign. Guy's a big fan of Lita with the Amy sign back there.
Yeah, just
Must
like
have
you.
got the big word that she was coming back. So.
Undertaker, you can't see from this angle, but he has the infamous little hook on his pants that Randy Turco always likes to talk about. And I don't know how to describe his shirt, Travis. It's like up here on the shoulders, on the sleeves, he's got it like taped. Like, do you see what I'm talking about? Like,
is it tape? I guess yeah.
Like, what is that?
It's like sleeveless, but he bunched it up.
He bunched it up here.
His arms, yeah. I don't know, man. That's strange.
That's an interesting choice. I don't think I've ever noticed that.
It's weird. He's just wrestling in his own merch. It's great.
Oh yeah, head to toe.
Yeah. Dead man ain't pants. Look at him. He's like, ain't over yet. And that's part of the story of this match is he could have won, where he could have crawled up a minute ago, but he wasn't done. And look, babyface getting his comeback right, blowing the comeback. Dude, look at this. Crowd is eating it up, man.
He's making Jeff Hardy.
Ooh, hope spot right there. And that was a textbook hope spot right there. I mean, the babyface comes back, fires up, crowd gets into it, and then what does the heel do? Cuts him off because you're not done telling the story. This is beautiful, wonderful psychology. Yankees suck, go Boston, they say in the crowd. Yeah, I don't. Where is this match at?
Good question.
Remember. Must be in New York.
And just the performing that Undertaker does. He's like shaking his head in shock at Jeff Hardy every time. He's just like, boy, you should know better. This is not going to go well for you. You need to stay down. Like he just did it right there. He just shook his head at him. That's part of what the storytelling is here. It's not just in the moves.
No.
It's not just in the shots with the ladder or the chair. It's in the facials. It's in the moments in between the moves. And nobody's better than that than The Undertaker.
Nope. Oh,
dang.
Big apron leg drop sandwiching Jeff Hardy in the
Undertaker
ladder.
Might regret that one.
Taker just took a ladder up to quiche.
Up the hiney.
Yeah. Oh, Jeff is dead. Oh, man. This is great. And yeah, this is not a lot of flashiness, not a lot of flashing moves, but it's great psychology. I was reading a review of this match just to get another opinion and just revisit. I didn't want to watch it again before we watched this. And a guy was talking about, he went back years later and rewatched it. Guy who we've used his stuff, Scott Keith, used his stuff before. He was like, this match is really not that great. It doesn't hold up. I'm like, bro, I respect your opinion, but I'm sorry. I'm going to have to respectfully disagree. This match does hold up to me. This is great. I'm still loving this.
Exactly, man. It's not about swantons off the ladder and no flaming hammers and shining wizards and all that sort of stuff. It's storytelling.
I mean, I wouldn't mind a flaming hammer match, though. That sounds
a burning
great.
Hammer. What is it? That's what it meant.
Shining wizard match. Man,
flaming wizard, sleeve of wizard.
Recently, this is. Oh, Taker just crashed and burned into the ladder in the corner. Little young Jeff Hardy moved out the way, outsmarted the wily veteran there, got out the way. But Taker's on the offense again. He's going to sell on the run. You've got to be on top of him. And that's one way to do it. Whisper in the wind. So good. People standing up to get a picture afterward. It's so great. I love the time, like the sign of the times here, man.
Yeah,
people
it's
with
so
the
fun
disposable
to look
cameras.
back at that. And Jeff Hardy, dude, he knows when to bust those moves out. It's not
Yeah.
just spot, 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 spot,
No.
spot. You know, him and like a Rey Mysterio are guys who, yeah, they do these incredible spots, but there's a reason for them. There's
Yeah.
a time for them in the match. There's thought put into them. It's not just out of nowhere, no selling, pointless stuff.
Right. And AJ Styles is phenomenal at that nowadays.
Yeah,
No
him
pun
too.
intended.
Yeah.
Ray is as well. Oh, took in the Death
That's
Valley.
another spot.
Yeah.
Death Valley shot.
And
That'll
look
take
at
it
that
down.
sell. The Taker's selling it like, I mean, that legitimately hurts those of you.
Oh, this is about to be legitimately hurt too.
Oh! Flip over the top rope, bouncing off
the ladder.
The ladder, flipping on the Taker, taking him down. Almost. Taker's not quite there and is not quite up on the spots. It's quite making his mark. But Subway, eat fresh.
Like, man, I love Hulk Hogan. I love The Rock. I love Stone Cold Steve Austin. Would any of those guys do a match like this? Nope, they didn't, and they wouldn't. They would not do a match like that. Kurt Angle didn't do ladder matches. Triple H. I guess he did one. Yeah, you know, back in the day.
That was a different. That was those guys. That was a point in their career where they're doing anything to get on top.
Right.
You know, they weren't the thing about 12 years. So that's like if Rock was in 2008 doing this.
Yeah.
12 years into his career. I wouldn't see any. Well, there was no Rock in 2008 because he was gone.
Right.
You know, that'd be like Austin. You know, if he was in WWE. You know, in 2007, but he wasn't.
Ooh, Jeff Hardy reversal.
Kind of wonky. You know, if you want to say it wasn't. You know, it wasn't crisp. It wasn't this. But dude, this guy's exhausted.
That's
He's
okay.
tired.
That's
it's
right.
not supposed to look like choreography.
Climb the ladder, kid.
Yeah,
make yourself famous.
Yeah. Exactly. I don't remember if this is the call or if it's later on, but that's an iconic sound clip that nobody anymore has. But just JR adds so much to this match, making you believe in Jeff Hardy. And Taker just drags him off like he's this wimpy little brother, man. Just like throws him to the ground like a rag doll. And this is selling. This is wonderful selling, man. Look, the crowd's still on their feet. These little kids in the front row are on their feet too, man. Like, it's just great. I love it. Oh, no. Last ride on the ladder?
On the chair.
Is that what we're going for?
Nope.
On the chair?
Jeff Hardy fighting out of it still. Tries for that Hurricane Rana. Oh, he grabs the chair on the way down and whacks Undertaker in the head with it. Look at this crowd. They believe it. Dude. This could be it.
Had me, dude. Oh!
Ooh. Undertaker did not get his hands up for that chair shot.
Look at the crowd. They can't believe it. I think this is the call right here. Climb the ladder, kid. Make yourself. It's just so good.
And you Jeff, and I, as 16-year-olds, we're watching this live thinking,
I'm freaking.
There's no way Jeff Hardy can win. But what if? What if just for this one night, just this 1 week?
Yeah.
They make him champ. But no. Undertaker murders him, stabs him in the back with a chair.
Booger Red. I like how he just bounced off the ropes to get a little momentum to climb up the ladder there.
Veteran move right there.
Yeah. Where is this Raw at? I don't know which town this is in. Look, he's got his hand on the world title. Jeff just had his hand on the world title. Taker with a... Oh!
Goozle. Choke slam. It's from Manchester, New Hampshire.
Okay. Taker just grabbed the undisputed title. Gingerly climbs down.
Big evil Red Devil.
And he's playing. I mean, he looks exhausted, dude. You can say that he kind of, had most of the offense, and he did. But he is selling it like he just got, taken to the woodshed.
He got taken to the limit, just like Ric Flair used to do back in the day. He leaves with the belt, but he got pushed to the limit. Absolutely.
I didn't know it was over already.
That flew by so fast.
Golly. I want about 20 more minutes.
Yep.
What?
Puts the belt around his neck.
Yeah. Takes a look over his left shoulder to see what his opponent is doing. He ain't happy. Going back in the ring. This is great storytelling right here, man. Jeff, the plucky underdog, trying to pull himself up. He says he's not finished yet. Taker's going back in, like he's his little brother. It won't quit pestering him, and he's going to just put him down.
You should stay down, kid. You should know better.
Eats a last ride there. Taker's like, all right, shut up now. Kid, stay down. He said, I told you. Hurricane is the real next big thing. What a great sign. What a great sign.
I have to agree.
Hurricane. I have to agree with that shirt right there. That lady is rocking that Hawaiian shirt. That little kid's got his Lilo and Stitch toy. Taker riding off into the sunset. Is he going to look over his shoulder? Yeah.
You know it.
But
what's he going to see?
This is where Jeff's on the mic. We can't hear it, but his voice is squeaking.
Taker!
Taker! But you know what? That's selling the exhaustion of it, man. I love it. Taker's like, oh boy, you done it now. I'm coming down there. I'm going to whip you into next Tuesday. Throws a ladder to the side. It bounces off the ropes.
I mean, Jeff Hardy's selling is off the charts.
It's a clinic, man. It's a clinic. Taker's going to go put him down. About to punch him in the face. But he's having second thoughts.
He respects him.
Look at that.
And that's what this character is all about. It's about respect.
And
we saw it with John Cena, saw it with Randy Orton, saw it with a lot of guys during this time. It was all about respect. And what a great thing he's doing for this younger generation.
Yep. And he's pointing at him like, you did it, kid. Like, you're one tough. Yeah, that's what he just said. You're one tough SOB.
And that's all it took to make Jeff Hardy in this moment.
Yep.
It didn't take him winning the title.
Nope.
It just took that point from the Undertaker.
And Jeff, did you see he just looked at his fingers like I had it? Like he touched it with his hand. Like
yeah.
He just looked at his finger. Like that little nuance is so good, man. There's just some good stuff here. This match, again, it's not a 5-star technical masterpiece, but it is 5-star storytelling in my opinion, man. This is perfect sports entertainment.
Bingo. It had you as a fan on the edge of your seat, not knowing what the outcome was going to be, believing in the impossible. That's what pro wrestling's supposed to be.
We're going to watch next episode. It's coming up next.
Let's do it, man.
No, I'm just kidding.
July 8th.
With the NWO implode.
I'd love to watch Kevin Nash Terror Squad again.
I'm going to.
It never gets old.
Man, I did not want that match to end, dude. That was stellar. I forgot that was the ending right there. I was hooked, man. Like, it's just, like I said, it's been 19 years. And I was just as much a fan as I was back then, man. This was an awesome match.
It still
fun.
holds
Thank
up.
you for those of you suggesting it. Again, it took us 3.5 years to get to it, but we wanted to finish, what we committed to first before we could take the chains off and do our thing. So,
looking back, of course, our top 20 list that we did on episode 187, our series finale, it was all about the pay-per-view matches of The Undertaker's career. Do you think a match like this, if you were able to rank this match amongst those top 20, would it crack the top 20?
Without question. Yeah, if we'd have opened that up and just said Taker matches, this would absolutely have been on my top 20.
Yeah.
May have been. I mean, it would have cracked to 15 probably, maybe 10. I don't know, man. It's could be recency bias because we just got done. But this is one of my favorite Taker matches of all time.
Yeah.
Like, when we started this podcast, I was like upset we're not going to do this match because I know how much I love this match, and you do. Like, it's like we won't cover it in depth because we're doing pay-per-views, but like, I mean, I can't wait to get to that stuff and watch it again. So yeah, this is one of my favorite Taker matches ever, man. So good.
I have to agree with you. I think it does, without a doubt, crack the top 20 Undertaker matches of all time. The storytelling, the drama, the memorability of it. It's a great moment in time. Perfect television match. Something you had to be there experiencing it live. There was nothing like it at the time. So, yeah, I think it for sure holds up.
Yep, absolutely.
Well, folks, We enjoyed doing this. We want to hear your thoughts about it, your memories of watching this match back live. Do you think it still holds up here, nearly 20 years to the day later from this match? What are your memories of this iconic, probably the greatest televised free TV, cable TV match of the Undertaker's career? You know where to find us at Talking Taker. We haven't gone anywhere. We are on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Talking Taker on all of those pages. We'd love to hear your comments. We still love interacting with you. If you got more Taker news, Taker conversations, Taker things to share, we are there for you, and we'd love to share those as well. Of course, you can still support us by picking up a shirt at tpublic.com, searching for Talking Taker on there. All our designs are on there. The classic Talking Taker, Taker Easy shirt, the I'm a Biker Taker guy, which fits with this match that we just did, the Taker Care of Business, which fits with this match that we just did. All sorts of designs on there. Throw a few dollars our way and help support the show. You can hear us in some other places as well. So since the last time we did this podcast, Travis, you and I were on the Bottom Line Wrestling Cast. I guess we talked about this on our Kane episode, but I'll throw a plug up there. We did a watch along with Mike and JV for their 316-day special. We talked about the Highway to Hell SummerSlam 1998 match on their show. We love those guys. We want to support them.
We'll probably be back covering Taker in Austin, I think, in 2002.
So. I hope so. We might be back there soon in a few more weeks. I know that they're coming up on that soon. Of course, you can check out the career of Stone Cold Steve Austin as they near the end, approach the end of that here soon. I want to give a shout out to Collecting Dead Man and the Collecting Dead Man podcast. Got to be on his show recently and talked about the Buried Alive match with The Undertaker and Mankind on there. Of course, he is kind of carrying on the legacy of Talking Taker in his own unique way, talking about different ways that he is building up his Undertaker memorabilia collection and talking about favorite Undertaker memories on there. So go check him out. He's on Twitter at CollectUpDead. And Travis, you are doing something, you did do something Taker-related here a few weeks ago. You had the live performance in concert debut of our theme song, of your original Taker Easy, a couple weeks ago at Delta Blues Barbecue, live and in person, man. And I hear you're going to be performing again here very soon.
Yeah, it was no Schmidt's Family Barbecue, but it was Delta Blues Barbecue in Bristol, Tennessee. Had the pleasure of having you and your wife drive up to come. That was fantastic. Lovely, lovely to have you guys there. And yeah, we had the worldwide debut of Taker Easy live in concert. And
brought the house down.
Had a buddy at church here today. He goes, man, I recognize every one of your songs, but I don't know Taker Easy. I was like, because it's not. I didn't write it. I mean, I wrote the lyrics, but it's an old Eagles song. But anyway, it was just kind of funny. So yeah, if you haven't checked that out, check it out on Facebook. I know Alex did Facebook Live, so I called it out from the stage to make sure he did that and recorded it. So it's on our social media. So check it out. It was fun. Probably the only time we'll do that, but it was a lot of fun to do. A lot of fun. Yeah, a whole lot of fun to do, and just be able to throw that in my set list just to catch people off guard. So a lot of fun.
If you're in Bristol, Tennessee here again soon,
into July.
Yeah, what's the date?
July 29th. It's a Thursday night from 6 to 8 p.m. Be there again. So who knows? Might pull a Taker Easy.
You never know.
And at the time of this recording, or this when this podcast drops, it'll be almost July 4th. Hopefully, I'll have some new music out as well. I will have recorded 2 nights ago my newest project.
What's the YouTube and Spotify and all that stuff?
YouTube.com/Travis White, and then you can just search me on Spotify and Amazon Music, Apple Music, Travis White. So yeah, I'll be on there and have some new tunes coming soon. So check that out as well. So
go check it out, folks. It doesn't cost a thing.
Nope.
Just give a few spins to Travis White's music on there, Perspective, Reflection, the Windrush sessions. Good stuff.
Yeah, this will be volume 2. Volume 2 Windrush sessions will be on there soon. So anyway, yeah, good times. And again, happy 4th of July to those of you in America listening. It'll be that weekend when this drops. So happy Independence Day. Enjoy some time. enjoy some time with your family, celebrate Independence Day, and and may have a ladder match with your little brother in the pool or something. So take
And
him to the woodshed.
like we said at the beginning here, folks, this is not the end. This is sort of a new beginning for us. We're not going to say, okay, it's going to be on the last Friday of the month, or it's going to be on the 30th or the 31st. But we are committing. We're going to bring in a new episode every single month of Talking Taker. So it may coincide with a special anniversary, or it may just pop up. So be sure to keep subscribed wherever you get your podcast. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, Stitcher, wherever it is that you listen out there. And you just never know when one of these might come your way. And we are open to suggestions. If there are matches you want us to watch along, if there's people you want us to interview, if there's conversations and topics and other things that you want us to talk about, please hit us up on social media. Leave a rating and leave a review, and we want to hear from you. We want to give you the content that you want, but we are gonna be around here to stay for a little while with Talking Taker. So be on the lookout. You never know when we're gonna show up.
Yeah, as the great American rock band once said, every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end. So
Well,
anyway,
it is closing time, Travis. So
it is closing time.
Why don't you wrap it up?
Another Taker sighting. My favorite comedian, Nate
Bardassi.
Oh,
yeah, you got to talk about that.
Did a professional wrestling I highly recommend the Nateland podcast. It's just stupid about nothing. But anyway, they did a podcast about professional wrestling, just talking about it. And you can tell those guys were fans back in the day. But Nate shares a story how he went to the dentist and in Nashville a couple months ago, and the Undertaker comes in like as the dentist, like to prank him, and it was just like he looks up and there's the Undertaker. So he had some pictures with him, and it's really funny. Just kind of, it was
so random.
It was my favorite comedian, my favorite podcast mixed with Undertaker. So I sent them an email and tried to put over Talking Taker. They didn't talk about it on the podcast, but I got an email back from them saying thanks for my input and everything. But anyway, so it was just really cool clash of my world basically coming into one entertaining scene there. But yeah, really cool. And yeah, other than that, ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you next month. Have a wonderful month, and give us some ideas like you already said, and we'll see you then. And stay safe out there. And as always, what's that saying? It's been a while. Oh yeah, take her easy.